There is definitely opportunity here. I'm just wondering to see if we will see the same form as that we saw DWG Gaming Kia put up against Cloud9. It's interesting to see whether or not that was Cloud9 just not really feeling it, or whether it was an amazing performance from DWG Gaming Kia. And coming up against T1, a different opponent yet once again. They struggled throughout stage 1, weren't able to pick up a single point. Now at least with some roster changes are looking quite okay, to be fair. Looking like there is a lot of promise there to potentially pick up a win sooner rather than later.
I think that's the thing here, is promise is a big word for this T1 roster, because we always talked about it in the previous split with the potential of some of the players, but it was a roster struggling to sort of find its feet and its groove in a region that was getting stronger and stronger. DWG Kia, they were a team that sort of hit the ground running. They were obviously a bit of a fresh prospect. That's an interesting removal. They're a bit of a fresh prospect that came into the league with the league's new structure already in place. They weren't sort of one of the inherited teams from the previous setup in the old Swiss system. And they sort of proved that. They kind of made their mark. And I think T1, they had a bit of a struggle of identity and a bit of a struggle to sort of keep themselves fighting. So this is that roster that you hope has more strength, more legs, and more room for growth.
All right, CCTV Cache is going to be the first site we are going to. Quickly saw the castle being used there, and that might be a bit of a bait to try and bait DWG Gaming Kia into thinking, hey, they could be going Jim, because it is that signature operator, of course, for that site. Of course, we are CCTV. The Melusi will be brought out. Of course, the Banshees can be shot now. It's a lot easier to deal with it. Do not always see it happen, though. Also, reaches for the feet now, which means that if you put it in front of drone holes, you might be able to slow people down as they walk past. But that use is, of course, limited to just a couple of sites on every map.
So, here comes the start of a steady approach. If T1 can start to build themselves a bit of momentum here on their defenses, they might be able to swing that into pulling things out of DK's favor. But some of the best stuff that we've seen from DK, to be honest, is the big pop-off plays. It's the big moments where, you know, Yas steps into the situation. Coated when he is the many times that he's been goated throughout all of the calls before. It's a roster that, as I said, when they came into the first split, it was very exciting to watch. And I think their first play day the other day and how they're doing in their sort of national league, all of the calls before, it's a roster that, as I said, when they came into the first split, it was very exciting to watch. And I think their first play day the other day and how they're doing in their sort of national league, they're still improving. They're still sort of stepping up and pushing and applying more and more pressure.
They definitely are, and DWG Gaming Kia will be pushing through to make sure that the wall will be opened up as quickly as possible. Oh, contest really coming in, and that means within 30 seconds there will be pressure coming down from the actual plateau, from the platform, which will be very useful in, of course, trying to put the extra pressure down onto Garage, because we all know how important the Garage will be. Boogeyman, in the meantime, you see him down there as well in the Garage wall, maybe trying to find an angle, maybe trying to set himself up to contest the man that is going to be playing on the catwalk. Because if you get that Garage control and if you have that plateau wall opened up, you should be good to actually go for a peek and go for a plant.
Yeah, that angle gives them that look right towards that wall. They're trying to force anybody that might be playing, potentially trying to hold on and catch that, but it's Replica. That actually gets caught first. The swap out, the bait play, the Melusi onto what was the castle before as the instant drop there. You've still, assumingly, got some of the pressure and presence of those Banshees on that entrance, so it's a bit of a scrappier firefight, but yes! Takes care of Yeti from range. Nelio's on the floor, bleeding out behind the wall. They should be able to pick him back up because there isn't anyone to intently get that cover there. I think he was a little bit of a victim from a spray around the backside. They're playing it from range. Crazy Boy stops a bit of that ingress, but you can start to see now DWG Kia repositioning, restructuring themselves around that garage after getting the opening couple bodies.
Yeah, they are indeed, and this is what I was talking about. If you have that Garage control, it is so important for a push like this. You just need to get past near the actual rotation. You can dig yourself in deep behind the B-bomb chassis and the server rack, and if you then have that cover coming up from the plateau, all you really need to do is try and bait out grenades, or rather the nitro cells or smoke canisters that could still be on the board. And for now, there is one nitro. There is still 3 canisters that can be used, so they need to be quick and starting to put that pressure up now.
Nelio's going on a little bit of an adventure. He doesn't have a huge amount of health, so a scrape is something that could take him out. And this is sort of a scrappy entrance. It's never massively clean club. It can take a little bit of luck and a little bit of swinging around and hoping that you catch somebody a second or two earlier. But as they start to try and make their approach here, Coded is looking towards the entrance. The canister gets popped, and Nelio pops off 2 right down the line from the back of Red 11 to stack it up, and they've been able to swing this balance back into their favor. The canister a little bit too late. Katsang has to try and dig deep though. 20 seconds and he's cut in half by Crazy Boy. Rin is the one that pushes their way all the way across the top. Can't quite make it work, and T1 did wonders to hold on to that final segment.
Yeah, I was going to say for a long while it looked pretty well here for DWG Kia, as they had that wall open up so quickly. They had the garage control, but from there on they weren't just able to move. They got picked up as they tried to put themselves into a position where they could go for a plant. And well, also as you saw the one member ascend the back stairs, the red stairs, there was a Banshee there. It was not being shot, it was just active whilst the smoke canister was on him as well. That means that you're going to be taking so much more damage than might have been necessary. And of course got taken out with a shotgun blast in the end. Rim then in a 1v3 managed to pick up 1 kill. Unfortunately, not more than that. And with that, it is T1 that is leading the charge here, leading by picking up that first round. Now decide to go to Church Arsenal to set themselves up. Yeah, once again, if you're looking at that, that is a shield facing towards Motorcycle. So that is going to be helping them try and make sure that that part of the map will be secured off. I also really like this rotation. We do not see it all the time. But by the way that Crazy Boy's making it, you can use the pillar for a bit of hard cover to peek behind. And it also allows you, of course, to quickly dig in deeper inside of Armory.
Hey, look at these skins. Look at these phase 2 skins.
Look at them.
Pretty.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. They're out now. You can have a look at them.
A lot of the teams stepped it up.
They're all under the esports tab in your video game. Rainbow Six Siege. Obviously, open it up, have a look inside, have a look at all the amazing new skins that have sort of been added. I know we've been flirting with them and dabbling with them on the stream recently, but now you can actually see them all in their lovely shiny glory and pick them up to support the team, support the scene, and get a cool skin. Adds plus 20 to whatever
plus 20 damage, recoil, accuracy, everything.
You get to choose one.
Yeah.
Not in the game, you sort of do it like spiritually. It's like a spiritual choice. And
but it will help.
It will help.
It definitely will help.
That's a happen guarantee.
It is indeed. We give it the seal of approval that it will work. But for that, mental is 50% of the game here in Rainbow Six Siege. If you think you've lost, you're already lost. So get the skin, and you think you'll win, you'll win. Easy as that.
Easy. Talking of, let's see if they can swing their mental background. I think one of the things that we saw DK open up well with was those 2 bodies, but there wasn't anybody that was instantly able to react to it. They weren't quite able to punish the success that they'd already been able to have and sort of, you know, salt the wounds and drive themselves into T1's defense. It allowed T1 to restructure, to pull themselves back together and eventually rebuff and sort of push back the rest of the approach here. I'm hoping that we see DK be a little bit more aware of that, a little bit more adaptive earlier on, set themselves ready for that sort of strive to success.
See DWG Kia just quickly rotating around, quickly checking inside of oil pit. Maybe someone dropped there as Coated opening up the first hatch now. Of course, the Electroclaw will be blocking the opening of the Motorcycle, so the good old breaching torch needs to be brought out here, but Boogeyman making sure that this hatch will be cut all open, and as he is working on it, ooh, that is 11 taking a lot of damage right here. He recovered the Electroclaw, is going to be repositioning that, but almost lost his life in the process, and with that, the hatch towards Motor will also open. And now that shield that is located at the exit of blue will be a little bit more useful. That could be used for Nelio to try and make sure that they can challenge a potential entry from that side, as DAMWON Kia seems to be very keen on attacking from that side.
They've sort of tiered their hold here. They've got the body above Motor. They've got the one on blue. It's Boogeyman that's putting the pressure onto the pipe side to see if he can get this early bit of an engagement. Nobody's close enough, but it might just take care of the claw, and it does. 11 is suffering slightly. That frees these Selmas up to start cracking their way across. The impact doesn't quite catch all of them, and the break takes care of Yeti on the spray, but they did enough to mean that that's just a crawl hole. That's not going to be an easy entrance. We don't have a huge amount of time left. They're still very spread out. They're above Kitchen Hatch, but that's still locked, and DK is just actually sweeping up Replica. Suddenly all that's left with the slight missing man and holding the advantage, the plant is going to be stuck down on the opposite side. There's pings dancing right above them. They have some intel on the body, and he's able to get the down there and take the firefight, lock it off with the Pokeball, catched and stored for later, but with 30 seconds and 3 more bodies, unfortunately, this looks like a fight that even Ash Ketchum can't win.
Creates a rotation to at least give himself an opportunity to either rotate or make a little bit of a, well, fuzz about it, let them be distracted, but yes, of course, we'll be checking long in the angle right here and able to get the flick done, get the kill in, and with that, it will be drawn up. It is DWG Gaming Kia that gets the second round. We're 1-on-1. And that is a very good and solid attack from them, I have to say. It looked, you know, they were setting themselves up slowly. They were opening up hatches, they were opening up verticals, but as soon as they flicked the switch, literally everybody on T1 died but one man who was trying to bring it back. And, well, it was the one man who we have tried to see bring it back so many times before, 11. Unfortunately, not able to do it this time around. And Jim Bedroom will be next, so T1 may be a little bit intimidated by the attack that just came out for DK, and thus will be deciding to continue the rotation, as if they would have won the round, of course not being the case. Now Jim Bedroom might suit them a little bit better.
The swap between the Kaid and the Bandit, they're playing around with the 6th pick, they're playing around with, I guess, some of the expectations that they can put forward in terms of the pressure that can be applied here. They are, I guess, going to toy more with the idea of let's trick against their utility. They're going for the steady approach, but to be fair, approaching hard destruction hasn't been a problem for DWG Kia at all so far. They've been so good at sort of using the Maverick and the grenades that they need to pop their way through the wall. They've been very quick in their approach in those sort of regards as well.
We got a M870 shotgun here from Crazy Boy. Now, you know, we were talking about the Supernova last week. The M870 is also something that was shown last week and something we also, you know, talked about during SI, something that APAC does every now and then. Let's see if this time it will be useful and impactful, as you would love to see that shotgun do some great stuff. With that, it is a lot of verticality that might have been created, at least a lot of rotation hole possibilities, as of course they have 2 shotguns available on them. The opportunity to go for 3, but I believe that one of either Smoke or Mute is using the SMG as the primary weapon, and Crazy Boy just waiting around the corner. It might be a little bit difficult for him to go an active trick though, because there is a soft barricade on that window that is not really being challenged as we speak, and that means that as soon as he does start tricking, surely there will be a bit of pressure coming down from highway.
Still some steady reproach here. They're keeping a firm eye, and I said they might be toying with this, but as I also said, this is the game that they toy with so well. Look at that bravery of a Bandit who, well, might not have long to live. The first grenade cuts round, Coated suffers against the electric wall. They've been able to force the body out there, but it's, again, this steady Maverick. They're able to sort of capitalize upon the damage that can be done. There goes, here comes the breach, and there's no Bandit able to apply that reverse pressure. They tried something. Now they've just got Crazy Boy with an M870 stuck in a garage. Oh no, they don't. He's gone, he was instantly picked apart.
He was instantly picked up from the angle that was created, and that means that the M870 will not have any success. 11, however, is still on a possibility to go for a bit of a flank, a bit of verticality if there is the need to do so. Replica will be helped with a bunch of magnets being tossed towards him. Of course, Coop reset the timer of any grenade that flies into his area, and with that, he gets a bit of an opportunity to run away. Now, Nitro will come out, will deal a lot of damage to Katsang, but he will stay alive for now, so he will be having the opportunity to toss in that grenade, which he now does. Of course, gets caught by one of the Wamai discs.
Wow, that's the hot tub meta we like to see, hopping on it to protect yourself from a C4 explosive. Now, though, can they be that big burst that swings itself around onto the pressures they can apply onto Jim? Nelio is backed up behind a shield, holding some of this angle inside that very core internal swing round. The long arm canisters in 30 seconds mean he's sort of battered back and ballasted by the pressure, but he's able to keep himself a little bit solid. Hey man, you're there, I'm here, and there's 2 bodies underneath. That could cause a bit of a problem now as Rin's able to make this body balance even worse. He swings deep, but no, yes! Cuts 1, cuts 2 for his triple, with Rin locking off a flawless for DWG Kia.
What a round this was again. You know, they're trying to stall out, and T1 is really trying to do some stuff here as you know, the M870 shotgun gets brought out, unfortunately, not really successful. Now, You might be thinking, why would they do that? But I don't think that T1 was prepared for the Maverick to open up holes to get grenades over. That basically made sure that he wasn't able to play in that spot anymore. So he had to fall back after putting down his first bandit wire. Fortunately, did not pick an exothermic as a result. And as, of course, there were 3 heart breaches available, that wall was going to be opened up sooner rather than later. Also, the lack of the control of the bathroom doesn't really help in that case. You saw a player trying to go for the retake there, but didn't really manage to come far either, as Yas just jumped in and got a triple kill as a result of it. With that, DWG Gaming Kia now in the lead. And with that, getting their second round. You see it again, just one, and instantly peeking through to the door, get the second, and then he's like, well, you know what, I'll get the black eye as well.
It was one of the things I said at the very beginning was you'll occasionally have a DK player or a DWG Kia player that steps up in a situation that you don't expect. But at the same time, you look at Yas, who, to be fair, out of any of them, has been such a constant. 7-1 after 3 rounds in. He's making sure that he is stepping up that pace. The big change that we see here, the Monty, is picked up into the hands of the attackers. They're going to try and get a little bit more stability. And this is one of the things that I said about this initial approach is they weren't quite in a situation to capitalize upon the ground that they'd make, the walls that they'd opened. It's not the easiest thing to charge in. It takes either all the chutzpah and all the prep that you need, but if you're going for that rafters take, as they did, having that Monty and just having that as the driving force can be such a big, big bout of pressure when you need it.
Especially when you lose 2 players through that little bit of a rotation or angle that has been created into the rafters. It's not really ideal. You can use the Monty to safely guide some people through or even take the pressure yourself. This time, however, not a rotation. It's just going to be an angle, and that means that if the control falls, if they lose control of rafters, they will still have to put up a utility to try and get control. In the meantime, though, wall will be opened up a little bit slower compared to the last time, just about 15 seconds, but an opening is an opening, and with that, they're going to be able to continue rotating themselves around and work on that garage. And you see Boogeyman already doing exactly that. He is there with a breaching torch, just quickly droning whether or not someone will be on the ground floor, because that is, of course, direct pressure that could be coming down. And as he does find there is indeed no one, he will start opening that up, and with that, create that angle that was often used back in the day to get a Capital bolt up onto the CC wall to deny any bandit tricking.
That's it. It's the classic angle, the classic way of going around. Talking of 11, he's gone round very wide towards the strip run out. Going to see if he can catch anybody by surprise. Dances and baits the play, but they've already generally slipped past. They've entered. Yeti is doing the best to lock it off, and here comes that Monty we talked about. He's going to call the body on the top of the tower. Going to call the body at the bottom to the one rotating around lounge. And look at this. There's just nothing to combat this pressure. This is that sort of balance, and oh, what a take! Yeti was able to strike round the side of the shield. It was popped from the explosive. There wasn't the cover that came from before. Coated is able to at least get some revenge there. A very necessary kill, but the drop on the Monty could be such a blow for the approach. Yeah, the Nitro Cell, of course, has the staggering effect now onto a shield, which means it goes a little bit to the side, which could mean your shoulder or leg are exposed. That was used into perfection there by Yeti, able to pick up that kill, and with that, make sure that the Monty would not live. However, the big issue now is the fact that DK will still be able to run away with it a little bit, manage to bring it back to a 3-3 still. 3 full guns on. There is still a bit of utility they can work with, but they need to find themselves an entry inside of that garage. It is now Nelia that picks up the kill onto Rin, and that means it's only a 2-on-3 situation left. Boogeyman will be trying to go for a push from the red stairs. Coated has opened up a place to allow himself to move in a little bit safer right behind the server rack, but as it gets picked up by Nelio, it is a grenade that takes down Replica, but I believe he got the kill right before he actually would have been popped off there. No, actually, it was a shotgun that went for the hop over. Got the kill. And with that, the round. It's the second time T1 will be able to win CCTV cash, but now they're heading into ground that is, well, not really favored for them if you saw the 2 rounds after round 1. It's a sort of strange conversation that we often have around sites and their preference towards teams, because CC has fallen out of favor with a grand majority of teams across the whole world, across the entire spectrum of Siege, you've seen it become something that's a little bit more trepidatious for the reasons, surprisingly, that DWG Gear are putting forward, where they're so good at getting that opening structural work done. They're so good at getting what they need to in terms of the removal of the hard walls and some of the space that they're able to clear, but T1 have twice been able to just sort of hold on, clutch themselves in, and lock it down. And now they've got to see if they can actually dabble with some adaptation, pull one of these sites that they've otherwise lost into their hands. The Goyo is going to allow them some more sort of room to play with down the corridor. It was a very quick, sudden push from DWG Gear. They sort of exploded around on the backside. They'd spent a while doing all their holds, so... Yep. I guess it's just the idea and adaptation of, can we force them to have to spend a little bit more utility before they go for something comfortable?
That was it, right? Like, DWG Gaming here was just allowed to set themselves up as calmly as they wanted. Yeah. They opened up the hatches, they opened up the verticals, everything they needed to make sure they had an opportunity to go. As soon as the pressure was down for Motorcycle, you saw one going up to the triple wall. Make sure that would get opened up, take care of the electric car. Three Salmons will be deployed on that wall. You can only manage to trick so many with a nitro cell or an impact from above, and that means the wall could open up, instantly followed up by yet another kill, and from there on they just explode onto that side. And now you see a little bit more pressure towards that triple wall. You see two Goyo shields and the shield in blue, of course, that would be there to help from the motor drop. However, this worries me that they might have left the other side completely open, which would mean that an oil pit drop or a stock take or a dirt tunnel take would be the weakness of this current setup and would rely purely on the gunning skills of T1 to try and make sure that DWG Gaming Kia is not allowed to push through.
Right, very tall approach here as they're making sure that there's no loose bodies, playing a bit of a tall game, but it hasn't really been the MO over the couple times. It's a steady old school stoic defense on the basement, and the spread is something where it's allowing DWG Kia to do their clear the same way that they did before. Seeing if they can strike and take a body out early is always a benefit, but it's not really how this sort of ends up being played against it. The Kaid is in a position, but as we've seen pretty continually, that has not stopped the approach against these hard walls, and it's always been that sort of driving force that has been very complimented already, but don't expect to see, so far, if this sort of trend continues, T1 being able to stop that ingress against the hard walls.
So the hatch just got opened up, and that means that right now, DK is allowed to start working towards the triple wall coated right around the corner. Knows there's going to be Kate playing there, holding to see whether or not he was going to be able to find. Not the case for now. Wiggerman is quite careful for a potential push to come through, and as he prepares himself with the grenade that he managed to, well, get right on the point of the electric claw before, there is no more electric claws in the hands of 11. So this one should be able to at least pick up the electric claw if there is no other piece of magnet. No, there's not. So that means right now the Selmas will be deployed, and again they will be allowed to open up the wall if it isn't for the impacts to hit.
Well, now they're going to see if they can actually put the pressure down. We heard a lot more impacts pop off in there. Look at the delay that there was in putting all the Selmas out. Instead of just throwing them all one after the other, they waited to bait some of those impacts out. They played it step by step, and it's led to a much greater opening. The entire back line is done now. 30 seconds, and Katsang goes to a misthrown grenade. That is something that's going to pull it out. There's these Goyo shields we talked about before as well. It gives them that little bit more structure. They can play around with a little bit more utility. One got popped, but there's another one in pocket, and there it is. 11 around the back of the third, the surplus shield, as another extension to the defense they played before. Coed has a lot of work to do around the backside, and does it big, does it bigger! God. Can't quite find the last one left off, and it's T1 that hold themselves down.
This time around, the shield around blue was actually used. Of course, the Goyo shields were used as well to, well, you can almost say perfection. Able to stall out long, able to pick up some kills from it, or at least do some damage. And that wasn't really happening last time around. That shield around blue, it was there, but that was it. There was no one behind it. No one was using it to pressure back from the approach that DWG Gaming Kia put up. And T1 back in the lead, managed to turn it around. Now have 2 consecutive rounds and will be forced to go to gym bedroom. And then the question, of course, will be, will this be a 4-2 split for T1? Or will DWG Gaming Kia bring it back to at least even this out into a fair 3-3? It's definitely not the 7-0 we've seen when they played up against Cloud9. T1 putting up a really good fight here, making sure that they're really letting them work for opening up these walls and trying to enter the site. It's Crazy Boy again using the M870 shotgun on the Bandit, really wanting to see a little bit more effectiveness to come out of it. The one thing I would say though, there is no Aruni, there is no castle. Both those operators would be useful to try and protect the Bandit in his quest to make sure that that wall will remain closed. Now, it looks like he has just given up on any idea of tricking, as most of the Bandit batteries are already being deployed. One on the con wall, of course, two on side of Jacuzzi, and you see Coded again, just to pick up 2 great kills, a triple kill for him in total, and just being picked up by the shotgun in the side before he was allowed to strike onto the third that was playing behind the shield. Almost got there.
I think that's one of the things, yeah. I mean, as I said before, I just... The role that you're playing with that Kaid, with the Bandit, it's been so ineffectual. It really hasn't contributed at all. And it's something where you sort of have to, at that point, weigh up what else you can bring to not complete the same role of the electrifying the walls, but complete the same role in what you're trying to do, which is to limit their approach, which is to facet them into a slightly more uncomfortable situation, burn some more utility out from the opposite side. Sure, if we're looking at this in a positive light, it's generally taking all of the frag grenades out of the approach, but now they're stacked with 4 frag grenades. Now, on this sort of approach, they've got the sledge bringing that role as well. There's a lot of them to be able to play that in pocket, so you're just sort of halving that utility. They've started to bite back, which they haven't really done before, and that's given the Maverick food for thought. But the Maverick, for the first time, I think, that's the first time we've seen them do an approach like that. Again, what? It's been a minute, and they're opening the wall.
Yeah, that's it, right? So they're not really putting in too much. And you know, I'm also saying we're being strong in it, but there's also Maverick. It's going to be really hard to try and make sure that that wall stays closed. And you don't kind of want to give it to them for free. So I get why they bring a Bandit, because at least you let them work for it. But it's not really achieving the goal you would like it to have. You would like it to be a little bit more time you waste, rather than just, you know, the average setup that right now is being used by DWG Gaming Kia. However, this time around we do have the player inside the bathroom, and the big question will be, is he allowed to stay here or will he be pushed out? And as I said, of course he rotates away. That is due to the fact that grenades are being tossed in. Due to the magnets, now he's allowed to go back. Oh, was almost being caught off by the second grenade here, but now he's close again. Plays with that shotgun, gets the first kill. Impacts are being tossed in from below as well, and Crazy Boy has a really good spot here. There's 2 more grenades left on Katsang though. He needs to use these to clear out the player from below, and that's an impact nade, I believe that is coming from Rin, and then we'll get the injury onto Crazy Boy. That is a good start, because it allows them to potentially move into the bathroom if they don't realize he's being picked up right now.
Yeah, the cover of the smoke there to make sure they can get that body back up. There's a grenade that's going to come through. Surely one of these is a moment is going to end the reign of Crazy Boy inside that corner shower. They've stacked themselves up to try and pull them way up the main stairs, but Crazy Boy in the meantime gets 1 more. They're able to take so much out of this approach, yet he's got underneath and pockets a man in billiards, and now it's T1 with the flawless to lock off a round. And okay, fair enough. I said don't really look towards the Bandit and the Kaid because the utility's not been good, but if you just bring an M870 and play with
that's it, right?
Absolute steel and ice in your veins, sure, why not?
This is why I didn't get why the Bandit was playing inside of the gym.
Yeah.
The previous time they were here. Doesn't really work out. It's a very long angle for an M870 to try and be effective. You did see the damage that happened to the Maverick. I think it was like 5 points of damage when he was trying to challenge the shot or the breach from below. And yes, right, that wall is going to be opened up. There is a Maverick. There is nothing you can do rather than, well, I'm not even sure if your smokes work anymore with the new propagation system, because you used to be able to toss a smoke up against the wall. It would deal some damage to the Maverick as soon as he started opening up because it would pass through. But I'm not sure if that would still be the case. So either you need to be really good with your nitro cells to try and make sure you get one through, or you just need to let it go, as one famous song once said.
I was going to sing it there, but it's too early. It's too early. I need another like 6 coffees, and I need way less people listening to me to have the confidence to belt out some early morning karaoke. What I'm going to talk about, though, is, hey, look at this roam structure. As soon as you see a hold here, and they choose Church and Arsenal, but then they also choose that Mute Mozzie Vigil combination, you're like, okay, they're going to go for a bit of an explore. They're going to sort of decorate the map with their own presence. They're going to try and bring this cost and this extension, which we never saw from T1. They were a very bottom-heavy team. Yeah, look at this. Quick pace down the possibility here of Dirt.
How quick will they be? Will they know that it is going to be a heavy roam up on the top floor? The drones are coming out, however, that will get 11 in. And if there is any dangerous player on the side of T1 that we know will be making use of these situations, it will be 11. Well, we found that there is going to be a goo mine, not really that difficult. Can just walk around and knife it as well, so you don't even give away. Oh, that is the back he just spotted out of the Melusi or the Legion. He will be walking back, and that means the kill will be coming in. There's a second one right there in Armory. He's going to go for a push right here. Nilio, however, will go down. It's up to 11 now to make sure that this one will be side control.
Well, Coated is doing absolutely everything he can, and the cover's coming through by those single players battled back suddenly. T1 had all of it, able to sweep their way into the site. Coated goes down from the use of the impact around the back. They won't entirely know that, but there's the Toesies, and there's a man that's taken out of the equation. Look at all this, though. The DK players have scurried themselves back down to the site itself. You can get down quickly. You know that you've taken out a lot of the bodies, but 11 is doing the best he can. Picks up the diffuser, and the best he can is a triple kill, which is pretty dang good. There is a great take from Yas, though. A minute 28, so much time left for a 1 versus 1, but yes, make sure it doesn't last very long. You saw a little bit of relief there, because to be fair, the back line holding there, I mean, one other kill had gone away from them.
Yeah.
That was not their round.
The fact that he was able to pick up 2 kills, 1 onto blue, and then with the shotgun all the way to dirt, that was really what saved them that round there, because otherwise they would have overran it. Of course, there was the return of the Aruni, or the Aruni was dug in deep inside of Armory. Would have had the opportunity of maybe picking up another kill, but that would have been quite problematic, you can almost say, for DAMWON Gaming Kia, if that wasn't the kills coming in for, I believe that was Boogeyman playing there with that mute. Either way, it is going to be their round, and T1, they'll realize they had an opportunity of taking it. They unfortunately failed, and will now have to slow it back down and go for the more traditional approach, as we see heavy reinforcements coming down towards construction, also towards logistics. They're not going to leave this open, are they? This is just to make it difficult for the... Okay. I would assume they'll reinforce it.
They're going to reinforce over that. They're just opening to make it difficult to potentially Maverick down the line.
It's for the Maverick.
Yeah. Gives him a little bit more watch too.
Of course, that is just to slow him down as he tries to make that line at the bottom. That is the one line that is able to be challenged if you go prone all the way in the back of either rafters and you create a bit of an angle into that, or if you go in the back of CCTV, you can also maybe find yourself an angle onto... Oh, that is that going to cover off the left side? I'm not sure.
I like how you like turned to reveal the wall. I don't know who's observing our first game.
Is it easy then shake?
Medics, nod. Oh.
Okay, he cannot.
It's easy.
It is stay farm.
I like how you showed the wall as if we could see the mute jammer like in action. I guess we'll find out now. Let's see if this mute can be jammed. And if it's something that can stop it. There's Maverick trying to find it, but it's a little bit too far away. He's hoping that it's close, and it has jammed it, and they can't quite get the angle. They're expecting it to be flush with the wall here, but it's not, so Crazy Boy's going to have to use that grenade, roll it deep, take it out to save time. Second explosion comes from underneath. Was that potentially? Yeah, that was just swung around there, and it finally gets popped open, but it was a curious balance of utility.
No, try to get it through the hole that the Maverick created there to try and impact trick the exothermic that was put up. Unfortunately, wasn't able to hit it, and with that, the wall has been opened up. In the meantime, Yeti, coming from the bathroom himself, has a long angle to work with here, created by the defenders, but not really challenged by the defenders. And now we'll be using that drone to figure out whether or not the rest of construction will be clear, and if he's going to be able to find himself an angle right onto one of these players. There is a mute jammer in the way, however, together with one of these Legion goo mines. We'll have to take that out as he tries to push through. Just like the rest of T1, it's looking like a full rotation towards the actual master bedroom here.
now as they start this sort of approach. Yas is toying with the idea of being a bit hyper-aggressive here towards Logistics Office and seeing if they can apply some pressure, but you've still got to sort of build yourself around the back line. That is a soft wall towards the top of red, though, I think, maybe. They've obviously got that extension. Yeah, so that makes it a very dangerous approach here. They could pop that open. They could instantly sort of pull a lot out, and that's going to force Yas to a much more uncomfortable situation.
Not sure where the other two reinforcements went down, but the last two probably inside the garage. Either way, it is going to be difficult, as you say, to try and make sure that you're going to keep control of the reds. There's an easy wallbang would be in place, and you have that shield that is facing the breach. But if you're playing behind that, you're still very vulnerable, so I'm not quite sure if this was the plan all along. Grenades being tossed in from below, but no one is inside the cache, and this Crazy Boy is about to move in. We have Katzing right around the corner. That is at the main door. They will be missing each other, and the player inside of blue will actually get the kill down onto Crazy Boy, and with that, the Maverick will be gone. A refrag will come in, though, from 11, and that means the plants will now be going down.
Yeah, Yeti gets dropped in the meantime. They're trying to find something to offer the cover. The C4 was pitch perfect from Katsang. A quick pick up, and Nelio gets himself into a slightly better position. 11 with a big take, swings around and tries to find the last one. Only a couple seconds left, but the diffuser adds a big extension to that time. There's a body that's creeping their way up the red stairs. Not for very long. 11. Filthy. And a great take there. There was a little bit of a sort of miscommunication down underneath in lounge, but if I'm honest, the sort of way that they left a lot of cash soft, not only on that double approach wall where they're able to just get in via construction, but then that backline on red where you would usually be able to, you know, hold that and be a lot more confident soft as well. It just puts you in a very tricky, precarious situation. There was a lot of faith in a C4, but even then, the C4
there was still another member. Yeah. Able to pick up the double kill, confirming the one that was down and take down the diffuser planted just in time, I believe. But there was still 8 seconds left on that clock. And as you said, there is no real way that they could challenge from the top of red because everything is soft. You show your head, you will be wallbanged right afterwards. So there's literally no hiding there. And with that, able to go for the plant. The cover of 11 came through, able to pick up a single kill, and plant's gone down in the meantime and able to close it off onto the stairs as well as he spotted ahead of the Cade. Now we're moving into gym bedroom. T1, the team with the opportunity of reaching that match point. Reaching a singular point yet once again, having the fight potential for a full 3. Whereas DWG Gaming Kia is a bit behind. They need to make sure they start catching up, and they need to make sure that they start catching up now. They need to close that gap, especially if they want to stay on top of the league, which they might lose if they lose out on the game against T1 here.
It's such good play so far from T1. I think we've really got to sort of give them kudos for how they've been able to pull themselves together. I love that. You know, one of the big highlights that we sort of had for this team, as was always the conversation was going to be, was how do new players play? Regardless of the team, it's the conversation of how do new players add, what do they bring to a team, and what can they sort of offer? Because sometimes you're sort of curious because it's not quite obvious, but T1, they were lacking that balance to offer to 11, who is so often the drive of the team. And now you're looking at Nelio, you're looking at Crazy Boy, who are able to keep stepping into this situation of offering that extra arm, that extra bit of an extension, and just having a second prong is really helping that sort of spear drive itself in.
That's what we said before. 11 needs people down there that are able to support him in the best way possible, because he was so often on top of the table, and so often his performance would just be, you know, damned into nothing, because you know, they would lose the rounds, and you're like, oh, I dropped 16 kills, but at what cost? Because we literally didn't get a point out of it. And right now, at least, it looks like they're having the opportunity to fight for 1 and potentially even 3, as they are leading the charge. It's Katzing right here behind the Goyo shield, looking to go aggressive, but has to be careful. The Goyo shield needs to stand for a little bit longer than just a couple of seconds. Will go down due to that grenade, and with that, of course, you also lose the opportunity of actively challenging this side of construction with a little bit of cover extra on you.
Well, great take on the Goya shield, forces them back with a bit of a cost. You've still got this extension. Yas playing inside kitchen too. I think they've stacked themselves up underneath in case logistics starts to fall. They don't really have anything inside their pocket outside of the shotgun to open up themselves a fresh angle and go for the approach, but instead they drop down. They go for an adventure somewhere else. They've got a lot of the map in their favor. They can go for big explores and they could potentially do something monumental. If they get a rotation via oil, which seems to be where they're heading to, and they take out Replica, that's a cold diffuser. That's a lot of danger, and that's the back of the push falling apart as they're suffering on the front of it.
Oh, managed to get the spot in the first kill and now needs to drop back down because the hunt will be on. The second kill will come in as well. Rin is going to be able to find Nilio, and that leaves it only to Crazy Boy 11 and Replica, the last three members left. They need to find these angles. The Maestro will be spotted out, but of course it is going to be an Alda that is raining down far upon you. 11 not really sure whether or not the logistics office will be clear enough for him to dig himself in behind that shield to try and put some extra damage and extra pressure down onto the players that are playing deep inside the bathroom.
Well, now they've been able to find their way just behind the shield. He's trying to find the body, and he puts a lot of bullets towards it and gets a double as well. Yet again, they strike and they build themselves back to some success.
Oh, yes!
Yes! Oh, okay. That is a heck of a play. The step up there, drives through them, had the ping, took the cover. There wasn't much time left, but still, to be able to pull off that situation, the triple in the 3 versus 1, 1 versus X. Yeah, he's a pretty good player.
Don't forget, 20 seconds before that, he was literally punching a wall inside of the garage, making sure he was going to be able to pick up the kill into Highway, which is, of course, a bit of extra pressure gone from the side of T1. And after that, rotates back to side, gets that triple kill, and secures the round just in time to make sure that DWG Gaming Kia is allowed to fight back, is allowed to fight to potentially reach 6 themselves before T1 does. As T1 is going to be attacking Church Arsenal, you see the Thermite being swapped out for an ace. Not quite sure if that will be the right decision in the end. Of course, depends on what their idea is, because with Thermite you can open up 2 hatches, with ace only 1. So I would say the ace is more focused on opening up the walls right here, making sure dirt is opened up, making sure maybe the triple wall opens up, and then leave it up to the Maverick to open up the hatches.
5-4. And DAMWON are still on the back foot. They're still sort of having to structure themselves here, and they've gone with a very different hold. They've set themselves up with a very different selection of operators. As I said it before, if you see that Mute Muzzy Vigil, you're like, hey, a tall defense. If you don't, you're like, hey, probably not a tall defense. Especially when there's none of those on the board. And I think they read that it was a very fast push, a very fast read. They had the success over the firefights inside the site itself, but you cannot structure, you cannot build safety around that. So instead they're going to say, okay, well, they can have that pace. They've read us before. Let's make sure they can't read us this time.
And let them try and struggle. There's still, of course, going to be the roamers. Yes, the man who was able to pick up a quad kill in the last round, actually on 2 different sides of the map, is now going to be checking that top floor, trying to hold it off himself. As he is on 13 kills. He is really crucial to the current setup of DWG Gaming Kia. Able to pick up so many rounds, and if he's left undroned, there is 2 players currently in the garage. If he's allowed to jump over that railing, oh no, he gets spotted out. So the drone is there, they know exactly where he is, and now the hunt should be on. The T1 players should be putting everything they have onto hunting down Yas effectively, and as the pre-fires and the wallbangs are coming in, he's going to be trying to rotate himself back down the stairs, but 11 will be watching that, but make sure that he's not going off the angle with the wrong timing there.
Yeah, that was one of those almost timing clip. He goes back, he takes the fight, and he takes care of the biggest problem that has sort of been a consistent thorn in their side. And those 2 neck and neck on KD. The one that pushes 11 a little bit further ahead is the kill on the opposite man. Now, what can they build behind it? Rin finds a bit of revenge, gets that first body inside the lounge, is waiting and holding on, knows they can't go anywhere else, but 11 is that success story that just keeps going and going, paragraph and paragraph, after, hey, I'm really good at this game. But it's always just as exciting as the paragraph before. Over a minute left now, and they find themselves with that body advantage. They find themselves doing a steadier approach. They read it was a lot more of a locked hold, and you've got to give credit there for T1 to adapting between the 2 different defensive styles.
See an important opening being made here. It allows for a challenge down towards Motorcycle. Whilst Crazy Boy still working on opening up this hatch, trying to chip away from all the hit points, and will successfully do so in the end. You see in the meantime a bit of pressure coming down from the kitchen as well to stop people from digging themselves in deep into Armory. With this, T1 keep their options open. They now have the opportunity to either push from the Motorcycle hatch or open up the side wall to push into Armory, and T1, DWG Gaming Kia will be left guessing as 11 is trying to push himself in from the oil pit side. If he managed to pick up yet another kill, he will be going absolutely insane this round, picking up a triple kill himself, but as he's swinging around the corner, he didn't quite check the round. Oh my god, what beautiful! That is right there from 11. Gets a spot into his second player as well, but I believe there's a shield right in front of him.
Now he's looking to see if he can take anything from these pings. There's one on Church and one behind that A case. 11 gets one more. He's on a quad. He is screaming towards this ace. They are well aware of where Coated is. Coated gets the first. The plant goes down. It's a 2 versus 1. The shotgun's in close. Cuts one. Goes for the second. It's Replica that survives and carries around through. That almost ended in another clutch for the favor of DWG Kia, but 11, what a player.
What a player he is, and we said it last year or last stage as well, like this guy, he is so good. He just didn't have the team really at that moment, or like the structure behind him to support him, and that structure is there now. When he falls, the rest of the team will clean it up. They will make sure that that win is coming their way, and T1 have secured that first point. And now they have 2 more rounds to make it 3 against DWG Gaming Kia, who shut down the champions, of course, of APAC North, Cloud9, with a 7-0 last week.
I just love that as like a sort of tier of a story. And I know you can never make these comparisons. You can't be like, oh, I beat you and you beat them, so yeah, we could be them. But the fact that DWG Kia took Cloud9 and T1 potentially could take DWG Kia for the 2nd time in a week just shows how explosive this region is at the minute, and how
it really does.
Sort of that cacophony of sound and talent is really echoing off of every single wall and corner of any of the maps that they decide to take on the stretch.
How many kills will 11 reach if we go to overtime? That is the question that is just crossing my mind the entire time. He's currently on like 1.7 KPR, which is quite good. Let's just keep it like that. It's quite good, pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Pretty effective.
I'd be happy with that.
I'd be pretty happy with that as well if I was able to drop that.
Yeah.
I think it wouldn't be in Plat 3 if I did.
Well, isn't that Jess's fault?
Yeah, but we don't say that.
Oh, well, she can't. She's lost the voice.
No, she can't say.
Hey, 11. Already getting the opening kill there. Rin went for something big, bold, and a hop out. And to be fair, it's a bold play, and it almost pulled off. If you take 11 out early, you generally set yourself up with an echelon of success. Why not take a bit of a risk at this moment in time when you're on that death knell anyway? It puts him in a tricky situation. Doesn't have a huge amount of health, and he's still got, obviously, smoke canisters to push against. There's lesions. There's the edges of 2C4s. It's dangerous for an approach, but that's down to now your team to see if they can make your sacrifice worth it.
Now, Crazy Boy opening up on the bottom here. That is the part where you will struggle. It's going to be easy to actually find the Electroclaw right there, and the Nitro Cell will land, and that is Crazy Boy off the board now. Will at least take care of the Electroclaw. Gives the opportunity to the Thermite to open up the wall if the need might still be there. Of course, an upside down repel will be a safer bet right now. And exactly, that is what he will do. We'll deploy it. Oh, no, okay, never mind. He's just rappelling down a little bit, which you could have jumped if you wanted to.
But that's the thing. You look at that situation there where they put the C4 into the wall to get that kill. Obviously, before that would have destroyed the C4. Now with the changes, you can do it alongside the electricity, but at the same time, it takes the claw out. So it sort of does a bit of a work. You know the trade that you're making in that situation.
I believe the claw also got destroyed by the Maverick that was already pushing through, so I think he got that far. The claw was like right next to the middle part of the left wall, so
either way,
it could have been destroyed. Could not been. Point still stands. Able to pick up the kill in the end, and now a long vertical angle is actually being watched into the garage, and that might be helping DK here if anybody would be moving through launch. For now, T1 seems to be willing to go for a rotate, but look at Yas just hiding around the pool table, looking to go for potentially a run out. Holds an angle possibly through the little opening that is there inside of the billiards window.
I'm super curious what Nelio was doing there in that situation. I thought that they might have an idea that there was this sort of play going on by the billiards table, and they're waiting for a potential run out on Gym and Strip, on Strip even. But no, they've headed their way up to Gym. They're going to sort of readapt their push and restructure themselves. With 30 seconds left, they're looking to try and entirely pick up sticks because of the fall of the wall. They did it, and they did it with a bit of a blood and a blow, but they're able to get themselves through there. Replica is stacked up on this wall as the cover comes through from Yeti. There's still the concern of the hatch that caused problems for teams before, and that's where Yas is going to start to make his rotation round, going steadily up and driving towards the back of the stairs. 10 seconds, another canister pops, and they're just going to try and swing through. Katsan, though, pulls the trigger many times. It's Woogie Man with the cover. It's all DK's favor, and what a lock-off. With a pretty angled pistol, 6-5. We're not over yet.
For a second, I thought there he got the the hip-fire shot with the 44 Magnum, but it was, of course, the player from Raptors that had the MP5 available, able to pick up that kill. And now, last match point for T1 to have the full 3-pointer in the bag. Otherwise, it will be DWG Gaming Kia that at least manages to steal one from them and has the opportunity to steal two. And as Jim Bedrim will be decide, we are going to. It will be yet again a Maverick and a Thermite, but of course it will be, because the Maverick is just so powerful on a map like this. It's impossible to keep the wall closed, unless of course you use the C4 like just happened by Coated. That was a pretty beautiful throw there. Let's see if they can do that again.
All right, the swap to the Frost, the play around the potential of surprise, pulling something out of their sort of play and making them a little more uncomfortable on what can be a bit of a tight push and a bit of a tight squeeze. We saw almost success from T1 here before. They almost found their way through. It was a 3 versus 1 clutch. It was late in the wire, though. It was sort of late in the hour, and I guess that bring of the Frost mats to see if they can scarper and stun some of the approaches, keep them guessing. It might be something that plays in against that late in the water push style.
High Evil Eyes being put up every round by DWG Kia. Katsang here, first with the TCSG, able to pick up one, not having too much ammo left, of course, for the second one. Deals a lot of damage to Nelio, but the MP5 that came in for the cover, of course, able to land that final kill, and with it, the round that is here for DWG Kia. And now 5-6. It is a very important round for both T1 and DWG Gaming Kia. T1 needs this to lock in the 3 points, whilst the other side is fighting to go up for an overtime, to fight for a potential 2, which could be so important at the end of this year and the end of the stage.
All right, no intense pressure instantly in terms of throwing themselves out the windows. They know that that surprise, I mean, we'll say worked. It at least did a huge amount of damage to 11 that made the cost of his engagements a bit worse later. There's a claw that pops out, should catch.
Yep.
There it is. There's the Thermic. Very well played, very well timed. That I know you were a bit surprised by that one mine disc.
Yeah, I was like, why would you put a one mine disc there if it will take out the electrical?
Yeah,
that is not really helping.
Defeated the point a little bit. But they get Jacuzzi open. They get Jacuzzi open with the second sort of spray round. They're able to take care of the second claw. That's put the cost in.
Rotating though.
Yeah, flooding on the backside.
Not going to be using a second exothermic charge and making sure that the Jacuzzi wall will open up. Instead, just using a grenade to take care of the Electro Claw, whilst the rest of T1 is already all the way over on the CCTV cache side. Now, Replica is playing inside the cache. He, of course, has that exothermic left. And yes, in the meantime, is hunting for another flank, looking to climb up from the oil pit stairs or ladder, and decides to rotate around. This time there's a Claymore. They know that he would be trying that again, possibly. And this time we'll be going for a completely different flank, all the way over to Dirt Tunnel.
Yeah, you can see that they're still toying with the ideas of applying this danger late in the round. It's something that, to be fair, they're very adept at, and it's a deep roam, it's a deep pull-off, it's a big bout of attention, and he has been cut off in similar plays and situations before. You can see they're hunting for him. And it's all time that's being wasted. It's all time that's sort of being pulled apart. It gives them a little bit extra caution. It means they can't be as comfortable taking that out, but they still get the shield with a very well-played grenade there. Rin suffers a bit, but they have an escape if they need to, and there's none of this intense follow-up pressure.
Definitely not yet. Yes, in the meantime, is trying to find himself a way back towards the side. There's only 30 seconds left. The pressure needs to come down now. 11 is putting up some concussions and still worried about a potential flame because they have no information on the Frost. And with 20 seconds left, that could really hurt them.
Oh, Katsang with a great take. He's able to move himself into the middle of the room. They're going to try and creep their way around Logistics office. There's the first spray. He's waiting for the pop-up, but he's behind the... Oh, behind the monitor, kept the monitor. There's the drop to get one back, but he's instantly under intense pressure yet again. They've got to try and pick that diffuser up. You've got to press F now, man. You can't just let it go. Woogie Man in the C4 is able to pick up one more. No time. OT. And DAMWON Kia keep us driving forward.
They are indeed, and we are heading towards the next 3 rounds. It's going to be a sprint race between both these teams. Whoever reaches the 2 extra rounds first, or the 8, will be taking the win here, and will be taking the 2 points rather than the full 3 that were on the board for T1 after they reached the 6 mark. Both will at least walk home with 1, and one of them will be getting 2. Meaning that right now, the side rotation, of course, will be reset. It will be DWG Gaming Kia on side of the defense, and Jib Bedroom will be the sides that they choose to start on. So this might be a little bit of a... you can almost say trick, but also, like, you know, it worked quite well the previous round. They had it completely under lock, and they're allowed to play it yet again. The risk in this, of course, is that you give T1 a direct opportunity to instantly implement the adaptations they might need to make sure that this side will go their way. But the question is whether or not they will.
I like that they stacked themselves back up here.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I'll like it more if it's successful. It's a bit of a risk play, but to be fair, obviously, with how we've seen the back and forth on the sides before, Jim was that sort of solid. For them, Jim was the site where they were able to make success both times. They sort of had 2 different results, but it was an improvement in terms of the hold on the second, and Yas was still generally uncontested out wide on the roam. They were able to obviously cause problems the first time round and then come up for an amazing clutch. The second time round, they had more time to just explore the map, and I think it's a very fair shout for them to sort of go, this was our 3rd before, but this is where we've had more success against T1. Let's keep it on. Let's sort of keep the roll in. Let's run it back.
I'm just worried for T1. They were so worried about a potential flank to come through from Yas. That a lot of time was lost in checking the back, checking the angles, making sure that the flank watch is on. And 11 was the one doing that. The man who was supposed to get these beautiful entries, like we've seen before, to rip open a site and create opportunities for the rest of the team to clear it out. Now, I would have, for example, brought a Nomad instead of a Yana in this case. Of course, you have those 2 grenades with Yana, which you could use, but you can also just limit the rotation potential a lot, or bring a 0. Make sure you have some extra chems in. There's different opportunities that T1 could have secured themselves a little bit more ease of mind in that round and in this round, because you can almost guarantee that Yas is going to be doing the exact same thing. He's probably off-site right there in strip and is looking to find himself a way up as soon as the wall pressure is going forward enough that is actually reaching the construction side.
Well, they're still sort of making their steady approach here. They have the drones in the eyes. You saw 11 working underneath to try and keep control of Lounge, and underneath the hatch itself, the grenade pops the Goyo on the close corners. It's par for par how they monitored their approach before. As he said, though, it's how much attention they can pay on the focus, how much concern they have for that swing around the back. The big change here is the Iana. It gives them the 2 extra grenades to bring up a total of 6. They know the game that they want to play, and it is at arm's reach. And they're going to see if they can swing any of that round to this back line of DWG Kia that they've otherwise had to sort of force themselves into before on these close firefights, because roughly they know where everybody is, but they can't get that very important last bit of information in their approach here against the Gym hold, which is, okay, well, where do we swing first? The Gon 6 drops that, it pulls that camera out, and it gives them a little bit more freedom to stack themselves up and say, we don't just have to try and drive ourselves in body for body.
Of course, as I said before, it would have been maybe better to use a flank watch, but if they can go a little bit more aggressive and force themselves in, take care of more utility, that might be the winning formula as well. As Crazy Boy gets the first kill, Katsang will drop. 11 will now follow the Gemini Replicator to try and find a second opening right here as the shield pops, and with that, of course, a sea of flames will be arising as Crazy Boy will be able to pick up a second kill in these last 35 seconds.
Yeah, Crazy Boy in the windows is causing problems. As we said, we can hear that cacophony of explosions, yet he still has 2 frag grenades in pocket as well. That but you know, he should be able to get that Gemini back maybe just in time. Not quite sure when the timing ended of it, but as Coded is the man that's trying to stick in, he's finding himself generally a little bit isolated. Woogieman has some cover. There is a very bold attempt. You still know that he's in there. He shot at you before, but Replica's just going to stick it and hope that the cover comes through. It does a flawless response there from that sort of singular adaptation of let's bring Iana, let's bring that way to get that intel and that extra pair of grenades inside the site.
Of course, the Gun 6 that was able to deal with the Evil Eye, which otherwise would be giving away a lot of information of that eventual push, of a potential plant situation to try and counter for Yas, who was playing below. But this time they also found Yas, so they didn't really have to worry about the last second flank anymore. Saw the kill coming down, the rest of the team was instantly committed towards hitting the site, and that means another 2 match points will be here for T1. This time they'll only be worth a singular extra point compared to the 3 or 2 that it would have been before. As we're heading to CCTV cache, the Melusi will be brought out rather than the Goyo. And of course, we have seen it being quite successful, whereas, of course, we saw the players trying to reach the top of the red stairs, got stuck inside of a Banshee, which then was followed up with a smoke from Crazy Boy, and that resulted into the round win. Let's see if that will be repeated, or if it is going to be DAMWON Gaming Kia with a different approach to this site. They'll be attacking once more today, and after that, they'll maybe have a defense, maybe they do not, depending on their result.
CC has generally entirely gone into the favor of T1 throughout these holds, and what we saw from DAMWON Kia was, if I'm going to talk about adaptations, the Monty attempt, which didn't quite come through. They went for, let's try something else, and they've obviously gone back to their original plan of trying to crack their way through. They never had too much trouble with those standard holds in terms of actually getting themselves the space, but as we saw, they were a little bit cautious in their approach, and they couldn't quite take advantage of T1 not being in a situation to reflect and defend and hold themselves off of losing the opening engagements. They've generally been able to get the opening body both times they've gone against CC. It's just the next step has scarpered them both times.
Yeah, definitely so. And we also saw them take the garage control quite effectively, and nobody would say that is a recipe for success, but DWG Gaming Kia not really been able to find that success against T1 yet, and as they do the exact same thing, they open up the exact same angles. They need to make sure that this time they will find a different result, because otherwise they'll be finding themselves down the drain. And with that, not the win that they would be looking for here against T1, and just a singular point to exit the day with. As 11 still playing below, so he's going to be doing the little Yas thing now, maybe using it for a late flank, maybe trying to get some impact here or there, make himself known, try to be hunted, just waste time wherever he can.
I like how they give so much caution there to the garage door. There's been a bit of a game recently of lobbing C4s towards that door and sort of expecting an approach and being able to strike them early. It's just the use of whoever's playing in rafters, throw the C4, and sometimes you get lucky whilst fishing, and it's given a lot more caution towards that garage door. Oftentimes before, you would see someone be a lot more aggressive in holding it as they set up and hope that as soon as there's a mistake made, they're in a position to swing around, and it makes it a little bit more trepidatious. This is a general change that we've seen across the door. Replica on the door is the one that's putting the pressure from Lounge, not quite relaxing, waiting for a little bit more of a swing to come around, and the back wall is feeding all that information about the standard hole that's open. Great take. Saw something that a lot of other players wouldn't quite be able to, and that difference could be that break. They've got that opener here in terms of their defense on CC. They're looking for the dance on the Lounge door too, with Replica offering the support to 11, who is thirsty to find his way over that 20 kill mark.
Looking to go up there indeed. A lot of damage done to Replica, who is still playing around the garage side here. In the meantime, someone snuck in from the bottom, and it's going to be Coated, the man who almost managed to pick up a round-winning quad kill in the basement attack just a couple of rounds ago. And as he tosses in these flashbangs, he's surely trying to, well, at least draw a little bit of attention, but at the same time, make sure they're not going to be able to push in far. Anilio and Crazy Boy both will be able to pick up a kill, and it's only left to Coated and Woogieman now. Just Woogieman in a 1v4 situation for a potential 7-7 situation. I don't think it will happen. The Nitro Cell will blow, but will not find him. But there's no time left. Just 10 seconds, and 11 will find his 20th to close it off with. And with that, it is going to be T1 that will take their win.
I mean, you can see the energy is very high. Twice in a week, they've been able to take DAMWON to the mark. 2 different maps, 2 fantastic performances from a team that is really sort of having a rise from the ashes of the previous season. Rebuilt, reconstructed, and reasserting themselves as a new force and pressure and presence they can apply inside not only this league, but the National 1-2 T1. Take the 2 points